How's it going? Just getting set up. Sorry. Am I running late? I don't know. Let's have a look. Oh, no. Oh, yes, I am. Apologies. 2 minutes late. What a bloke. Right. Almost there, crew. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. Look. So, who have we got? Kill Switch BB. Morning, buddy. Morning, Kill Switch. Now then, Jim K. That is a great thumbnail picture. It was a spur of the moment thing, Jim. There's a dilemma. Well, is it a dilemma? Well, the dilemma's in the name, but as I'm getting a bit further into this project of Tool Girl Holley's DR200, a little bit more work than originally planned. Nothing that we can't not do, obviously. Alan Cook, morning, Andy Pandy. What the hell? No, sorry, Alan. You have to take that one back. Now then, George. Good morning, Andy. DZ Kung. Hi, Andy. I have all week day off. Wow, you got the whole week off. What a bloke. You're a lucky chap. I've got Saturday, which was yesterday, today. And well, tomorrow is what we call Labour Day here in New Zealand, and it is, and if you're in England, you call it a bank holiday. They don't call them bank holidays over here. They get really confused when you say to them, "Oh, it's a bank holiday on Monday," and they go, "Huh?" You know. But if you say it's Labour Day, then they understand, which is fine because that's what they're used to. But it's a bank holiday, really. But I have to go up to Auckland on Monday afternoon, which is tomorrow afternoon for me. So I only get like half a day off tomorrow. And that half day is going to be spent, actually, good segue, Andy, good segue. It's going to be spent turning around on the camera in 3, 2, 1. It's going to be spent packing all of these things up. Now, so those that have been joining us will recognize. In fact, let's go and do a walkabout. What the hell? Let's just unplug the camera. Right. So, been a little bit busy. You'll have seen these waiting to be painted for a while, and now very weird things to film actually because there's so many of them. But these are all done, and I keep moving them around on the ceiling because I keep banging my bloody head on them because they're a little bit low. But it was sort of the best place and in fact the only place to put them. I used some Dexian sort of racking and I drilled the holes out a bit, and this is some rebar, and that's what I was cutting when I got the piece of metal in my eye. Bastard piece of metal, honestly. That was very painful. So there's, I think, 85, and they all need individually wrapping. They're all painted with, what did we use? It was some kind of paint. Anyway, I'll show you in a minute. Obviously with a primer, an etching primer, and then it had a gloss finish. Yes, they probably could have had, 2 coats, maybe, of gloss, but that would just add to the number of runs that I get on my jobs when I paint them. So 1 coat it is, and the paint that we used, don't walk too fast, Andy, don't walk too fast, Andy. Right, dual purpose, morning Lily, dual purpose cupboard, as you know, Tool Girl gear. And then, it's a cupboard for hot things, all right? So it's flammable stuff down here, and this is where I keep all my paint stuff for now. So we've got, obviously, thinners. So we'll get rid of that. So thinners is that one. There you go, look. Anyone that does paint, I'm not really a paint person at all. I just go in and say, I want some black paint. And they look at me like I'm an idiot. Which is fine, because I'm not from the paint industry. So that's the etching primer there, look. You guys will know all about this. So there'll be lots of comments coming through in a second. So that's the etching primer I used. And I only actually used probably about that much of the can. So there's well over half the can left, which is great news because I've only got another 100 brackets to make. So I've already got the paint for that. And that was under there it says Lustra Black 4 litre. There, look, you see. So that's what we used for the top coat. And it came out pretty well, to be honest. I didn't, the paint finish isn't really that important. It's more to do with the fact it needs to stop rusting. That's the plan. Right. So there you go. Bit of a bit of a wide angle shot look. So there's about 85 of those hanging up, which is quite a bit of weight actually. It's doing pretty well. Oh, pardon me. Right. Camera's rotating back in 3, 2, 1. How professional is that? So I had a bit of a walk around. So yeah, they're all done. And to be perfectly honest, I am really, really glad to see the back of those things because very labor intensive. In fact, let me show you the jig that I had to make because you've not seen this yet. Hang on. Now, the problem that I had is, in fact, let's get one down and show you. Pretty sure they're dry now. Better be. The problem I had is this end bolts to the motorcycle. I say motorcycle in the loosest sense, it's got 3 wheels, but anyway. And of course, the holes that this, or the mounting points that this bolts to are already pre-drilled, pre-tapped, and essentially fixed. So the distance and positioning of these 2 holes had to be absolutely critical. Now, these holes are for the number plate and not quite so critical, but would have been nice if they were symmetrical, should I say. Unfortunately, not all of them are. You can see on that one there, it's about 0.5 mil further up than that one, which is really annoying, and it's no doubt probably going to catch out a few guys fitting number plates, but it's not the end of the world, and I do admit when I make mistakes. Now, originally, when I made the first 20, I had my little template piece, which is this bit here. I would just put that on top of the new piece, clamp it on with some mull grips, and drill through. Now, at the time, these holes were smaller. These were like a 4 mil hole. And that sort of worked okay for like 20. But it didn't really work okay when I started doing these. I noticed that, well, it was taking a very long time to do. And I wanted to come up with a way that would sort of speed the job up and make it more accurate. So, as Andy does, I made, yes, I know, complete overkill. I made this out of some scrap metal. It took me about half a day, and I was sort of quite enjoying making it, actually. It's not often I get to make this kind of stuff. And, oh geez, I need a tool. Hang on, I've over-tightened it. You know, my workshop is always such a mess after I've finished doing all the stream. I blame you guys completely for it because I keep going off on these different tangents. But basically, we'll get rid of that. Okay, so basically, you load in your, hang on, come out. There we go. Wasn't undone enough. You load in, first of all, your new piece of steel. That goes in first, and then your template goes in on top. And then, once they're in and against the stop, which is obviously critical because that aligns everything, you then tighten these up. And there's also a couple of bolts that you can put in the top here as well, which push the whole lot downwards. So essentially, it locates everything spot on. Now, obviously, this one is longer, and as you can see on the jig, you can move this piece across, and it bolts in here, and of course that allows you to be more accurate, you know, further down. So very happy with this. Unfortunately, it's not quite long enough. I didn't have a bit of steel long enough, and I really couldn't be asked to weld a gusset a piece into the end just to get some extra, another sort of 5 mil or so. So when that one's in, it does, not 5 mil, yeah, look, about 30 mil. It does hang over the end, which means that when you drill the hole, it actually flexes a bit. So I actually had a loose piece that I used to just wedge underneath. Anyway, so there you go. That's what Andy had to do before he could make all of those. And once I'd done that, I then had to make a jig, which I'd actually already made for the first round of 20, to align all the pieces before I weld them up. But the jig worked brilliantly, actually. I was very happy with that. Anyway, so there you go. That's what I've been doing. So I got those finished. And they've been going on for about 3 weeks now, all the various bits and pieces. And I've only made 100 of them in total. I wouldn't think it would take that long, would you? Okay, I'm just going to scroll back because obviously you guys have been chatting away while I've been rambling. Alan Cook, it was a joke. That's all right, Alan. Don't you worry. Apology accepted. Nikati Yimaz. Hi. DZ Kung, I think UK have two. Ah, okay. Well, probably. What's October? It might be. I forget. It's been a long time. Paul Matthews, where is your tool girl, Andy? Well, she's not here. Thanks for reminding me. Holly is coming back last weekend of November. So about a month, and she'll be back in the workshop, which means I've got a month to get a load of work done on a DR200. And that's what the main content of this live stream is all about. I need to show you what I've done so far. I was filming for most of yesterday. It was a long day actually yesterday. Even my fish and chips were cold when I went inside. I had to reheat them. I was outside for that long. DZ Kung, oh my God. Okay. Simon Roll. Good morning, Simon. Good morning. Nice to have you on board, Simon. Thanks for joining us, sir. Jim K, how's your eye? I don't know. You tell me. Does it look all right? Funny, actually, I thought that the bit of metal was stuck in the white of my eye and it was hurting up here. Got to the hospital. In fact, as you know, well, I don't know if you know or not. Yes, you probably do know. Live stream last Sunday, still had a piece of metal in my eye from the Saturday. My own fault. Didn't want to go to hospital till I got up to Auckland because probably wasn't going to be able to drive after they'd been poking around and stabbing my eye with needles and stuff. So I got to Auckland. It was actually quite a painful drive because it was getting pretty sore by that point. I actually had to stop a couple of times and just let my eye water for a while. Got up to Auckland, met Ben at my work. He brought another trailer in that was is going out on hire that he had, and then took my car to where I was staying that night, and then Ben took me in his ute, which is a phenomenal machine. Those of you that have watched a few of the videos of me fixing Ben's ute, it's an old Ford, what is it, a Courier? Ford Courier, I think it is. It's like about 91 or 92. It's got points ignition, which is fantastic. Drinks petrol, massively underpowered, revs its nuts off, but it does burnouts, and that's all Ben's bothered about. It does drifts and burnouts around roundabouts, and he massively overloads it. In actual fact, we sent Mrs. Mechanic off about a year ago to go and get some sand and gravel mix for some concrete because we'd run out. So she promptly went down and completely filled the bed, and it's only a single cab ute, completely filled the bed, and then they put bags of cement on top of that. So she turned up back here with well over 2 tons in the back of this 1-ton pickup. And actually, I don't even think it is a 1-ton pickup, to be honest. There were no bump stops. There was no suspension travel. It was completely on its ass. Poor ute, honestly. She said, oh, I think it doesn't handle very well. It seems to wobble around on the road. Yeah, that would definitely do it. Anyway, so no tool girl until a month's time. Yeah, so the eyes got to hospital, and a guy put my head in a clamp, and the clamp, metal frame clamp thing was bolted to a table. I thought, this is pretty good. I've been here before, recognize the equipment, brought back some pretty bad memories of when I was 18, did exactly the same thing. Real nice chap, Ricardo. I remember that because his name is like the Recaro seat. So it's Ricardo, Middlemore Hospital, top bloke, big shout out because he got the metal out of my eye, but not after a bit of palaver. So I got myself lined up in this jig, held my head nice and still, and he put some drops in my eye to numb it. And I said, well, what are you doing? I said, is that the iodine stuff that you put in? He says, oh no, this is to numb your eye, so you can't feel what I'm doing. And I said, well, the guy that did it 30 years ago, almost to the day, He didn't put any of that kind of shit in, but I'm very grateful that you are. That's good. So he got my head all lined up and stuff, and he told me where to look on the wall. And in actual fact, before we'd gone in, because he couldn't find reeling back a little, I'm terrible at stories sometimes, reeling back in a little bit, he went to go and open the door to let us in, itchy nose, let us into this room to do the work. And he had the wrong pin code for the door, so he had to potter off and go and get that. And on the outside, on the wall, and Ben was there obviously, on the wall was an eye chart, where you read the letters, all the different lines, and they get smaller and smaller the further down you get. So I was just joking with Ben. I said, maybe I should memorize the bottom line because he might ask me to read the chart. So I memorized the bottom line, which was CDC DV, I think it was, from memory. I could be wrong, but anyway, it was a week ago now. So it was only 5 letters, and I memorized them. And Ben's like, what are you doing that for? Yeah, because I said it over and over again a few times. Anyway, the guy turns up. Finally, we get into this room, head in the clamp, and he's there. Drops her in the eye, and he's there with a needle, just about to make first contact with eyeball. He'd had a little look around with this lighty thing, and he definitely found the piece of metal. He says, there's only one bit, but it's not in the white of your eye, Andy. It's actually in, is it the iris, the coloured part of your eye, the bit that opens and closes? The pretty important bit, to be fair. And that's probably the reason why I never spotted it, because I was looking in the white of the eye. Anyway. So he goes in with a needle, and he makes contact, and there's this, I could feel it on my eye, and I could see the needle getting closer and closer. And, every cell in your body is telling you to move away from the dangerous object. But I actually managed to overcome that, and he made contact, but then I flinched. I flinched big time, and my head came back in the stand. Fortunately, I didn't look to one side because that could have scratched my eye or something. But I flinched backwards. And he said, did you feel that? And I said, well, I don't know, to be honest. I think I did feel it a little bit, but it wasn't painful. I said, it's probably more likely that I flinched because there's a guy about to poke a needle in my eye. That's the main reason why I probably pulled back. Anyway, he chucked some more of this anaesthetic stuff in my eye, and we had another go. And just as he's about to touch my eye for the second time with the needle, the table rocks. It rocks across about 1/2 inch on the floor, and I'm like, is your floor not level? Or is your table legs not all the same length? Because something's not quite right. So I had to sit there. And of course, you couldn't do this technical, accurate procedure with a table wobbling around. I had to sit there, bracing the table, holding my head in the clamp. By this time, my eyelid had gone all numb, and I couldn't even keep my bloody eye open. So he's using his left hand to keep my eyelid up. He's got my eyelashes in his left hand, between his fingers, holding my eyelid up. And he's there with his right hand, driving the needle, steering the needle to where it needs to go. Anyway, I'm getting a bit concerned. There's a lot going on here, and a lot could go wrong. But anyway, he makes contact, and he starts digging away. And I thought, well, I only get one chance at this. I have to sit really, really still, not look away, and just let him get his job done and get this piece of metal out. And anyway, he's flicking away, and probably about 30 seconds. It might have been 10, but it felt more like 30 seconds. He was there digging away, and I could hear Ben laughing his ass off in the background, because all he could see was this bloke basically stabbing a needle into my eye, and I'm sat there letting him do it, But anyway, he finishes his job, and he goes, I think I've got all of it out. But he says, do you realise there's a rust stain around it? And I says, well, not really, because I couldn't even find it in my eye. He says, yeah, when did you actually do this? And I said, it was just after lunch on Saturday. And he looked at me, didn't say anything for a little bit, and he looked at me really puzzled. He said, well, why didn't you come to hospital sooner? And I said, well, I had jobs to do, mate. I had a ROV to underseal, and I had a live stream to do for my YouTube channel viewers and other bits and pieces, and I had to get my trailer up to Auckland. So he sort of shook his head a little bit in disbelief, but we got it all done. So thank you, Ricardo. Really, really appreciate that. He even gave me some stuff to put in to make sure it doesn't get an infection and stuff, which makes me completely blind when I put that in. So I can only put it on an evening, which I keep forgetting. So I might go blind. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. That was the little hospital story. Survived. It was immense amounts of fun. But the good news is it does feel a lot better. So there you go. From one little comment, you get a whole story, isn't it? What colour are you going to paint? Oh, no, I've already done the painting. Oh, you mean the bike or the... Oh, man, sorry. That was bugging me. That was terrible, wasn't it? So these are black. These are all painted up black, and the next round will also be black. The bike, what color are we going to paint the bike? Well, if that's what you're asking, then the frame is going to be most likely black because I've got black paint. Fuel tank's going to stay white for sure. In fact, let me have a drink of my coffee before it goes really cold. Yeah, so I think really just the frame is going to get repainted. But that's obviously for two reasons. One is I want to tidy the bike up. And secondly is I might need to make some modifications to the frame. And I'm going to cover that when we do our next little walk around, actually. Let me just catch up with the comments first, though, I think. Simon, I got them looks in paint shops. Are you talking about the black eyes that I got the other day, Simon? After I've been painting. Oh God. DZ Kung, wait, Andy, something happened. I'll be back. Oh, shit. DZ Kung, I think my web shooter got hit. Very good. Something attacked it. Good man. My Rose Ironworks, morning, Andy. Oh my God. Rutwick. Kerikar. Binod. Binod, I recognize that word actually. It probably means hello in some weird, like I've got a really itchy mustache hair that's going up into my nose. If you've ever had that problem before, I really need to have another trim. So, Binod to whoever, whatever language that is. I hope it's not an offensive word, to be fair. Connor K, good morning to you, Andy. My coffee mug has arrived. Yes. Good man, Connor. Well done, mate. Good to have you on board in the club of coffee cups. I've chosen my Tool Girl Holley thermo mug for this morning's live stream. She's a good lass, I tell you that. She really is. Brendan Lee Grant Mills. Hi, Andy. How are you this fine day? I'm actually not bad. I'm a lot better than I thought I was going to be. I did a lot of work yesterday, and you'll see that shortly. A long filming session. It won't be a massively long video, I don't think. I think a lot of it will be edited out. But it was a very long filming session, and it had a couple of problems along the way that I had to overcome as well, which involved a bit more time. I also managed to drink an entire bottle of cider last night, and I'm not talking the little piddly bottles, I'm talking a full-size bottle, which allowed me to sleep really well, but I did think I was going to have a bit of a hangover this morning, but it's not too bad, actually. I'm coping all right. Alan Harwood. What's Alan have to say? Alan. Hi, good evening from Banbury, Oxfordshire. How's the CB750 coming on? Well, I just might be doing my next video today. I did one last Sunday, I think, wasn't it, on the front brake. Now, I want to look, because the bike's nearly 50 years old, we've ordered all the stuff that I need. I'm going to give the whole game away, but the stuff for the front brake is sort of in the pipeline now. Will take a while to get here. So now I can step back to the ignition side of things. And I think today I want to inspect the condition of the loom and look for the various volt drops. So I want to break the whole thing down because that's a particular technique that can be used, you know, for any kind of wiring harness, for any particular circuit. It's not ignition specific, and it's something I do get asked for advice on a regular basis with the people that I deal with. So I think a video covering that and how to test it and how to locate the various volt drops and the problematic parts of the loom would be quite beneficial. And I can use a multimeter for it, and I can use the scope for it. It'd be pretty cool. I can do all sorts of stuff. So I want to do that, and then maybe, you know, replace certain parts, because wherever the main volt drops are, and don't forget, you know, the whole thing is about a weak spark. So if we've only got, let's say, 12.5 volts, because remember the you know, it's a weak spark during start for cranking. starting purposes. So obviously there's a volt drop because we're cranking the engine. That's one of the biggest problems. And then, of course, we've got additional volt drops because of the condition of the wiring, of the connectors, and that kind of stuff. So ultimately, the ignition coil is not getting the 12.5 volts. Sure as hell isn't. It's probably only getting 9.5 volts, which is going to make a huge difference to the strength of the spark. Now, on the little Suzuki Jeeps that we had, the old 1 litres, they had a ballast resistor. So during crank, they got a direct battery voltage. And obviously being a bigger battery, there wasn't that much of a volt drop, and it was only a 1 litre engine anyway, so they got that. But once the engine had started and the key had gone off the crank position, then the feed to the ignition system went through a ballast resistor, and they got about 7 or 8 volts or something. And the idea behind that was to allow to increase the lifespan of the points. Obviously, you know, when they went to electronic ignition like on the 1300s, they didn't need to do that anymore because there weren't any points. So one of the big disadvantages of ignition points is that they burn out. Anyway, so Alan, yeah, I'm getting there. Another video maybe today, see how I feel a bit later on. Got a couple of little jobs to do before that I start that. Drive shaft Drew, Andy Mechanic. Hi buddy, hope all is well. Well, drive shaft Drew, all is just fine. They dug the piece of metal out of my eye. It's still a little bit sore now and again, but actually it's not bad. I'm very pleased it's not affected the vision, other than the fact that my eye doesn't like really bright lights at the moment, which doesn't help in this workshop because it's really bright in here. But it is getting slowly better. Paul Matthews, with a round circly thing. Where are you from, UK or New Zealand? If UK, whereabouts? Well, no, I am from the United Kingdom. I am a Yorkshire chap. And I was born in Kendal, whisked back to York very quickly, and spent most of my life, I suppose, 2 places really. Sheriff Hutton, was it Richard III has a castle there. I went to go have a look. Didn't look too inviting, to be fair. Most of it's fallen down now, but we still have a Richard III castle. And also I lived up near, well, I suppose in Dolby Forest, you'd call that, wouldn't you? Around between Scarborough and Pickering. North Yorkshire moors. Love the place, really miss the countryside, miss some very close friends that I had up there a lot. If they're watching this, they know exactly who they are. You know, but now I live in New Zealand, and that's what I do. And I've got a YouTube channel, and I work for a major motorcycle manufacturer stroke importer stroke distributor kind of person, people, business thing, and thoroughly enjoy it. To be honest, I'm the service chap for that brand for New Zealand. DZ Kung, no, it broke. Oh no. Well, that means you need to make a better one. Al Elish, hey Andy, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Al. John King, evening all. Oh my word. Oh no, we're catching up, we're getting there. Simon, all that's missing from the eye story is a lump of wood to bite on. Lol. It didn't hurt that much, Simon. It didn't hurt that much. It was more just getting over that the fact that somebody's stabbing your eye with a needle. That was the problem. I mean, when I was 18, it took, you know, the same sort of scenario happened. They didn't put any anesthetic in. They just put some black purpley dye in there to try and find the better metal. And that time it was in the white of my eye, and I think it was this eye. But I can't remember. It was 30 years ago. It was one of the 2 eyes, obviously. But on that one, there was actually some leather straps that went around the back of my head, and they strapped my head into the frame. On this one, the most recent one, I had to just rest my chin and my forehead. You know, like a forehead band, you had to sort of push into the frame, and that was it. There was no straps, or if there were, he never bothered to put them on. But the one in England, and it was at York, I think it must have been York Hospital. Pretty sure it was York Hospital that I went to. And my head was physically strapped and restrained in the frame, so my head couldn't move at all. So when I flinched, I took the whole table with me on, you know, that time round. And of course, the doctor was getting really upset because he didn't want to hurt my eye. So he called in a nurse to you know, try and, I don't know, hold me down or something. Not a bad looking nurse, to be fair. Anyway, she did the best she could. Wasn't enough. Didn't work. Still flinched. Still moved the table. So he called in 2 orderlies out of the corridor, and they had to pin me down so I physically couldn't move. So the only thing that I could do, which obviously I didn't want to do, was to move my eyeball away from the needle. And I remember him saying to me that, and this was the first time when I was 18, he said, look, this is the last chance. I've got other things to do. If you can't keep your eye still stationary, I can't get the metal out. That's it. And I think that stern talking to was just enough for me to concentrate and focus on the job. And sure enough, he got the bit of metal out. But again, that was like that one was like 3 days after it had gone in, and there was a rust stain in the white of my eye. It's gone now, fortunately. It went only a few years after. But metal in your eye. Yeah, top tip from Andy Mechanic: don't wear safety glasses. Don't wear safety glasses when you're grinding steel. Wear a full face mask. Seriously, you'll thank me one day, because it's not nice. Bits of metal going in your eye. You wear the safety glasses, you think you're safe. And then there's one little spark, he thinks otherwise. And he catches you out, and it goes to your eye. And you think, what the hell? I was being safe. But you weren't being safe enough. That's the bottom line. Full face mask. Keep the blighters out. That's what you have to do. Now, where are we? My pie's getting cold. I brought a pie for you. George, do you feel any pain after you lost the numbness? Yeah, I did actually. I did. On that night, I'd taken Ben for a pizza. It was about 11 o'clock at night. Took Ben for a pizza, to thank him for his time, really. I know I'm his dad, but it's still nice to share a pizza together. So we had a pizza, and then he dropped me off at the hotel I was staying at. And it started to wear off, and by the morning it was actually quite painful, because he said he had to dig quite deep to get it out, which didn't impress me too much, to be fair. Eyes are weird things, aren't they? Be my arm, foot, leg, shoulder, don't matter, anything like that, not a problem. Your eye, don't want to think about it really. But yeah, every now and again I do get pains in my eye since then, but they are getting better. Probably just fixing pains, I'll call those. DZ Kung, never mind, I do 3.0 version then. Yes, you need to do that. It's work in progress, and obviously, you're going to run trials to see how well they cope. And eventually you'll be able to swing, from the lampposts and down the street just like Spider-Man does. And you'll do a video on it, and everybody will be like, wow, that's cool. Brendan Lee Grant Mills, I got a paint chip stuck in my eye a few weeks ago. It's not a pleasant experience, is it, mate? No, a paint chip. What, were you hammering something and it flicked off and got you? Then I suppose it could be really sharp, a paint chip. Shit. It's not nice at all. You're right. Off-road fan. Hi, Andy. Good morning, off-road fan. Good to have you on board. We've got 54 people. Seriously? Oh, man, that's good. That's great. I just dropped to 51. Oh, man. Drew Leslie, what's a good face mask? A full face mask. Scratch resistant, anti-fog, etc. 3M springs to mind. What do I use? Hang on, let's go have a look. All right. So I've used these for a while. I have another brand somewhere. Hang on, I'll go and get the other brand. Right, okay, hang on, here we go. Okay, so I've been using these ones ever since I came to New Zealand, and they are Omata. It says on there, if you can see that or not. There you go, Omata. Now, they have replaceable, obviously, lenses. You can still reuse the top piece. But I went somewhere and they didn't have any of those left, so all they had was this one. And this one is made by a company called BG or something, I don't know. Never seen it before. Don't see these around quite so much. It's got lots of writing on it and things. Didn't like it at all. Hence why it's all covered in, well, dust and crap and all sorts. That really actually should just go in the bin. I missed the bin. Anyway, but these actually are really good. There's two different types of screens from. You can get the long screen, you get the shorter screen. I always go for the long screen because I don't like sparks going down my front. But the last time I bought one of these, which was probably this one, was from BOC in Auckland, because they're, you know, they sell all the welding, grinding stuff as well on Great North Road. And she charged me $104 for a face mask. $104. Bloody ridiculous. And then I think I bought a spare screen as well, which I have no idea where that's gone. But they do scratch up really quick. You've got to be so careful. You can't just use your hand to clean the screen because, you know, or the clear bit, because it does scratch it really quick. And if you, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's quite a few scratches. Oh, you can. There's quite a few scratches on there. It does work, but I like to see what I'm doing really clearly, and that really isn't clear anymore. I mean, I do give it a wipe down, you know, with a cloth, a clean cloth and stuff, but they just seem to scratch up really fast. Not that impressed. I mean, realistically, I'd be buying one a month, you know, a new screen every month, given the amount of work that I'm doing, grinding and that kind of stuff. And maybe that's one of the reasons why when I was cutting that rebar, I just stuck with the glasses, because, you know, subconsciously I knew I could see better, because that's pretty much worn out. So maybe I need to get a new one. I need to get two, actually. I'll get them in Auckland next week. I will, I promise. So, Fireblade 2102, morning Andy, got a pie update. I was waiting for somebody to say pie. I need to eat my pie. It's probably getting cold. It has had, I had to warm it up in the microwave and they go real soggy, but if you leave them in the official bag, they seem to go hard again, which is really good. So we've gone for the standard gourmet, should I say, the gourmet steak and cheese version from, of course, Wild Bean Cafe. Not a sponsor, paid for this. Probably out of some YouTube money, actually. So, sorry I'm eating a pie, but it's nice. The Florin Culier. I want to take a 49cm mini cross, you mean CC, for $400 because I don't have money. Is it good for me? What do you think? I weigh 43 kilograms, which is nothing. That's like a third of me. Hey, where did that go? Bear with me. We've got stuff happening on the screen. Here we go. And 1.55 in height. What do you say works? Respect. How old are you? Can't be that old. 43. Well, yeah. I mean, what the hell? But what I would say is, make sure it's a reputable brand, because when it breaks, and it will break, and you'll need to maintain it and do servicing, make sure you can get parts for it. Before you buy it, check out Parts Supply, because you don't want to go and buy something which you can't get bits for, because it is going to break, and then you won't be able to use it. It'd be a waste of money. But yeah, 50cc, 43 kg should be all right. 1.55. You're quite tall for it though, aren't you? So it all depends on the physical size of the bike and the seat height and stuff as well. And I can't tell that from what you said. All pies in New Zealand mysteriously vanished. Who ate all the pies? DZ Kung, you make me happy. Oh, that's nice to know. I don't always make Mrs. Mechanic happy, I know that. Unfortunately. Richard Asperger. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sorry, Richard. We'll just call you Richard. Richard, hi, Andy. How do you confuse an Irish road worker? I don't know, Richard. How do you confuse an Irish road worker? Give him 2 shovels and tell him to take his pick. Dad used to use that joke. He did. It's a good joke. I like that. And I don't think it's just disrespectful to the Irish. I think it's just a bit of fun. Simon, hit the like. 23 and 51. I'm not doing too good a job this morning, obviously. Jisek Kung, thanks a lot. You're the best. Cheers, matey. No problem at all. Brendan Lee Grant Mills. Stripping the paint off ramps at work, and the chip flew off and got stuck. Shit. So obviously, I say obviously, not obviously at all, given what I've just gone through, but were you wearing eye protection? I suppose, when the paint gets really old, it does get quite brittle and it can flick, can't it? It doesn't just... I remember I've cleaned off, where was it? I was cleaning some outside paint off a house, I think it was, years ago. And it was really, really hard was the paint. It'd been baked hard. So when I think we were just doing it. It was so bad was the paint. You didn't have to heat it up. You could just scrape it and it would just, to millions of pieces. And yeah, it was going everywhere, and it could quite easily have got in your eye, and it would have just stuck on the front of your eye. Good pie. Rose Ironworks. If you want to be sure to keep the grinder sparks out of your eyes, guaranteed, fork out the extra cash and get yourself a full welder's PAPR mask. Your eyes and lungs will thank you. Holy moly. Must admit, when I'm welding, and they have said now, recently, that the fumes even given off by mild steel, I believe, are carcinogenic, so they can cause cancer, can't they? Which is bad. You think all the things I've welded over the years, surprising I'm still alive, really. So that's very helpful information there, Rose Ironworks. Really appreciate that. I may well actually look into getting one of those, because you only live once, to be honest. And to be fair, when I was doing that painting, when I was spraying the primer, the etching primer, I just used one of those 3M, well, it wasn't 3M, it was just a regular kind of face masky thing, for a workshop, and still had quite a lot of crap, up my nose, which clearly it got in my lungs. And I did feel a bit lightheaded that night because of all the fumes and stuff. And I said to Mrs. Mechanic, I said, I'm sure I'm sure I bought a proper 3M face mask for spraying when we were doing the beams. Where is it? And she said, oh yeah, you did. She said, you made me wear it during the lockdown when I went shopping. I had to go around the supermarket wearing it. Do you remember? You made me do it. I went, oh yeah. So it was still in a car. So I went and got it out. In fact, it's just over here. Hang on. And I think it's actually featured in a couple of videos. I'm not sure. I haven't cleaned it yet. So there you go. That's what I wore second time round, doing the top coats, and you can see how packed the filter is with all the paint and the fumes and stuff. But that night, had a bit of an itch up my nose, so in went the little finger, had a root around, and there was no black stuff. So basically, they did a pretty good job. I mean, look at that. There's no black stuff on the inside. And it does seal really well to my face, I must admit. It wasn't cheap by any means, but very good. Very happy with that. Need to buy some more filters now though. But yeah, good job 3M. And so, and I did, it's gonna go somewhere. And so it definitely helped save the day, and I felt a lot better by wearing the right gear. So you're quite correct. You've got to spend the money. Flick Flag. Hi Andy. On car radios that turns itself off in stationary car after 15 minutes as a battery saving feature, can one turn this feature off? As surely a full battery can run a radio for much longer. It can. I mean, you can run a radio for hours and hours and hours off a good battery, and your car will still start. Normally, sorry, the engine will normally start. As regards changing that duration before it self shuts down, I don't know, to be honest. My Ford Ranger Ute does the same thing. If I'm parked up, even with the key in the ignition, if I'm parked up for You know, so let's say I'm charging my phone, listening to the radio, and I've just got the key on the first click. I think it is. No, with the key out. That's right. With the key out, I usually get about 10 minutes. But then I've got to put the key in, turn it to accessories, but then obviously all the lights come on as well, the headlights and stuff. So I've got to turn the lights off, and then it's not really a problem. But no, I don't know how you'd go in and change the coding on that. I've never been asked, to be honest. All the radios I used to have knobs on them and things. Not like this posh stuff you get nowadays. I sound old, don't I? But the other option is, you know, the power feed to the radio. It might not be the radio shutting down. It might be the fact that the module that's providing the power to the radio is cutting the feed. So maybe you could just find out which wire that is and disconnect it from the module and wire it straight to the battery if you want. Then the radio will run forever. And well, until the battery goes flat. And then you'd be walking home. Alan Cook. I'm just waiting for my 3D printer. Well, that's posh. I'd really like to get, talking of 3D printing stuff, I'd really like to get one of those cutters like Colin Furs has for the sheet, for the steel. I think it's a plasma cutter he's got, but it's CNC controlled. Oh man, I'd love one of those. It'd be so good. I'd be able to change the way that I make things so much, and especially these big fabrication jobs. It'd be so quick. It'd be really cool. But I think that's too much. I've not really looked into it yet. Duke of the Dales. Morning, Andy. Morning, mate. Sorry, I'm busy munching my pie at the moment. I need to eat it before it goes cold. Brian Moore. Hey, Andy, how's tricks? Do you miss being around the English countryside? Very much so. I left Cheshire now and live in Toronto. Great videos. Love the accent, mate. Well, thank you very much there, Brian. Yes, I used to live on the North Yorkshire moors, and I was very privileged to be able to go out onto the moors and drive a lot to the green lanes and ride them on trail bikes and stuff. And so much fun. You know, I probably led, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Well, if you include the quad biking as well, thousands and thousands of people across the North Yorkshire moors, be it in a four-wheel drive, on a trail bike, or on a quad bike, down the ancient roads. And there used to be 130 miles of green lanes across the North Yorkshire moors that you could go and explore. And the places that you could get to and the scenery was just mind-blowing. It was so peaceful and so nice. And that's what I miss. I miss being in the middle of nowhere. I miss knowing where I am in the middle of nowhere. And I miss not being able to use that knowledge of where you can go and go and explore. Because New Zealand's, it's not quite the same. Right, hang on. There's so much going on. Abid, you need to stop doing what you're doing because that's really annoying me. Rose Ironworks, powered air purifying respirator. Could do. Cost me a fortune. P.S. I'm a welder fabricator. Yeah, I think if you were doing that every day, you have to have that kind of gear. You absolutely need it. I did look at one of those respirators a while ago and just got scared by the price. But I have now got, if 3M make them, I have got a contact at 3M now that I might be able to get one a bit cheaper. We'll have to find out. But you've got to look after your health. I know I smoke cigarettes and I'm going to have one very shortly, but you know, one cigarette compared to the fumes of 3 or 4 hours welding is a very different thing, isn't it? So thanks, Rose Ironworks, appreciate that. DZ Kung, is the bike behind you broken and how much CC that bike got? Well, that's a DR200 and it's currently getting refurbished for Tool Girl Holley. And I will be talking about that when I finish my pie. Simon. Flicky Flack. Have a look in the owner's handbook. That's a very good point, Simon. I'd never be very good in customer services, would I? I'm sure there'll be some way of changing that setting, or there should be at least. Nee Wisson. Morning, Nee. Hello, Andy from New Brunswick in Canada. Love your work. Well, Nee, my daughter Charlotte is in Canada, has been there for quite some time now, and she called us yesterday, did a video call yesterday with the rest of the family, and it was really, really nice to talk to her. And, you know, I did think of Canada at the time. And in fact, you should check it out. If any of you've got dogs, you can help Charlie here. If any of you've got dogs, then she just started a little sideline. She's only, you know, it's not a full-blown business, but it's a bit of fun. I'll see if I can find her on here for you. It's called Archie the Aussie is her Instagram. And Aussie spelled O-Z-Z-Y. Let me see if I can find her for you. So you can get the actual... No, that's not it. Hang on. Hang on a minute. You have to just bear with me a second because I'm not very good at this kind of stuff. There. That's the one. Okay. So that is Archie the Aussie. And she's started making little bandanas. See if I can find a picture for you. There, look. There's Archie. Archie's the dog. She's got a new puppy. And she makes these little bandanas for doggies. And she made the first one for Marmite, our dog, years and years ago. Obviously, it was here in New Zealand because Marmite's a New Zealander. And, you know, looked really cool. And years later, she's decided to start making them proper, which I think is really cool. She did send another picture, actually. She had some little labels made up saying attire by Archie on them and things. So if you've got a little dog, check it out. There might be something there that, you know, you might want to get one. Make her day if she sold one, I tell you. Be great. So there you go, Nee. Nee Wisson and Tool Girls too, lol. Yeah, I'm sure you do, sir. We all do. We all love the Tool Girls. I do miss my Tool Girls. Cool. Holly's back at the end of November for 2 days. So we're going to be working real hard on a DR200 again. So I've got quite a bit to get done before then. So no pressure, Andy, obviously. DZ Kung, I want to have my room like that so I can make things. Yeah, it's really nice to have a decent workshop where you can make things. And I mean, yes, well, not yesterday, but earlier in the week, where I'm sat now was a spray booth. Did I have a picture of that? I have a picture of that somewhere. Hang on, I'll show you. And that's what workshops are all about. You've got to have, it's got to be versatile. You know, you've got to be able to move things around and do all sorts of different jobs in the same space. I don't know if you're able to see this or not. Hang on. See if I can edit it and rotate it. Go away. No. Edit, rotate. There we are. So there you go. That's basically where I'm sat now, and I just used some cardboard to make up a spray booth. Now, obviously, that's after I'd finished all the spraying, and you can see that the plastic sheeting over the lighting is pretty black, and there's not a lot of light in there anymore. But it worked really, really well. Did the job. And it stopped the rest of the workshop getting covered in paint. So it sort of proved the concept, because I was originally going to have to just try and just buy another shed and use that for spraying. But, you know, for small stuff, it worked just fine. It wasn't a problem. It took about, I don't know, 20 minutes to set it up, 10 minutes to take it down. And a bit of cardboard, didn't cost anything. So good. Mike Adams. Good morning to you there, and good yesterday afternoon to you from here. Right, Abid Khan, you've got my attention. Can you stop being an idiot, please? And obviously you're about 3 years old and you've managed to get onto YouTube somehow. But probably find a Teletubbies channel or something. This isn't what you want. George. What could be the reason behind excessive wear on the right-hand side of a front tire? Okay, so obviously you want to check your toe. First of all, you need to check your camber as well. Make sure it's not got excessive tire. So right-hand side of front tire. So do you mean the outside edge of the tire? I would suggest that really you get the car, have a wheel alignment done, see what's going on. Something might have got bent, something might have come loose, something might have got lots of play in it. Or it might just be the way you drive. Maybe you do left-hand corners much faster than right-hand corners. I don't know. Or it could just be the age of the tire. There could be loads of different reasons. It might have too much pressure in it, too little pressure in it. You know, lots of different reasons. But a wheel alignment really is the first thing to do, I think, because that's going to check all the angles and stuff and make sure that it's all within spec. Drew. Sorry. Drew. At least New Zealand has volcanoes, lol. We do have volcanoes. We do. They haven't gone pop for a while. So maybe it's going to happen one day. I don't know. Abid is back to... Oh, now you see that's better. Just one single emoji. We've got a little robot. And we've got quite an evil looking pumpkin, I think it is. I'm not sure. My eyesight's not so good at the moment. Rose Ironworks on Ilkley Moor, Batat. Ilkley Moor. Yeah, I've been there. Dodgy place, isn't it? All right. Abid Khan, you've been held for review. You've sent too many emojis. You've almost broken YouTube. So good. You are correct. He is quite annoying. Kill switch. Abid Khan looks like she needs some help. Yes, I would agree. Or at least some education. Off-road fan. Flicky Flack. Modern radios have two power supply terminals, one constant supply and one ignition supply. When the ignition supply drops the voltage to 0, the timer starts. There you go. DZ Kung. So you could just wire the ignition supply to the permanent supply and then it'll run forever. But make sure you disconnect the supply from the ignition. Otherwise it might upset other things. DZ Kung. I should ask my mum for my own workplace. You should. Good luck with that. When I asked my mum for my own workplace, she gave me a little garden shed and I made it into my little workshop and I did welding in there and it caught fire. It did. Then I put the fire out and fixed the floor and it was fine after that. Mike Adams. I've thought about making a big enough metal or plastic hoop to hang from the ceiling and shower curtains on as a storable paint bay. That'd be a pretty useful way of doing it. Yeah. I'd say the cardboard thing seems to work really well. And the fact that I can get as much cardboard as I want from work. Because there's always loads of waste cardboard. And there's a truck comes every week and picks all the cardboard up, and he seems really happy the more cardboard I give him, so I don't know. It just seems to work, and I was quite impressed, actually. And yeah, there's a little bit of black on some of the lights that made it through, but it's actually, the paint was almost dry. It's more like black dust than actual paint, so the airliner will just blow it off when I get around to doing it one day, when I clean the lights again. Yeah. So no, I think it was a complete success, actually. It worked out really well. Because I really didn't want to get paint all over my shelving and stuff again. Which, there's a lot of dust on them, but I don't think it's paint. Anyway. Oh my word. DZ Kung, I love making stuff. Me too, and I like taking things apart. And that happened yesterday. So great segue. Let's move. I'll come back to the comments, the rest of the comments in a minute, because they're just going to keep going. DR200 for Tool Girl Holley. What's it all about? What's happening? Well, since we're doing this project, I want to do things a little bit differently. And I also want to learn more about this particular model of Suzuki, because I like Suzukis, to be fair. I used to have lots of little Suzuki Jeeps, bit of a fan. And I used to have an old Suzuki Beamish trail bike, if anybody's ever heard of that. Simon, ever heard of a Suzuki Beamish? Well, I used to have one. I had the 250cc, two-stroke they were. So Mr. Beamish, I think, made the frame. It was a chrome frame, and Suzuki provided the two-stroke 250. And I think there was a 350 version as well, air-cooled two-stroke engine. Single cylinder. Weird bike. Had like a trials bike seat, but it was a full-size sort of motocross bike. Very strange, very specific. I think they didn't make that many of them, but I had one of them, and Dad bought it for me because it was cheap, basically. It wasn't my first bike, but I had a lot of fun with it. I rebuilt the engine loads of times, and I actually found out there was a mistake in the service manual, in the gearbox. So Suzuki sent me a load of parts for free, which was nice of them. Now, this particular bike, there's at least two variations of the DR200, probably more actually, that I'm not aware of. There's the farm bike, which is what Tool Girl Holley's bike is, which has got the rack at the front, the big rack at the back, dual side stands, it's geared down, it's got a great big hefty chain guide, plastic chain guide, which isn't great because it still the mud still gets in. It's not a sealed chain guide or chain cover, and it's got like a clutch lock system on it as well, so you can leave the bike in gear and just pull the clutch lever in and lock it. There's quite a few neat features to make the bike more specific to farming and more applicable. And then of course there's the road going trail bike version, which Tool Girl Lily has, which is, it only has, in fact, it doesn't even have a rack on the back, to be honest. There's no racks on it. It's got a longer seat, and it's got pillion foot pegs. And just like with Lily's, they can be fully road legal, so you can register them like a normal motorcycle. The farm bikes, however, like that one there, can only be registered here in New Zealand under a Rego A or B category, which means that they have to be only registered as a farm bike. Which causes a bit of a problem because, it's a bit restrictive. You wouldn't be able to ride it for a day. And I have a plan. And my plan is, and I do quite like my motorcycle trips, I'd like to jump on this bike at some point in the future and ride down to the South Island. And of course, if this bike's registered as a farm bike, then I'd be pushing my luck. I did do it on a Honda Dominator NX650 a few years ago. That was actually registered as a farm bike, believe it or not, and I did 4,500 kilometers on it in 2 weeks, which was fun. Never got stopped, but it wasn't quite the right way of doing things. And given who I am and what I do now, I really should be seen to do things properly. Gone are the days of being a silly person. So I looked at what the differences were, or still actually, I'm currently looking at the differences between the road bike frame and the farm bike frame. And the reason for that is I have a spare road going DR200 trail bike, the one that can be registered for normal road use. The bike was in pretty bad state of disrepair. It was just basically a parts bike, but the frame was still live and the rego was on hold, which means that frame can easily be reused to go back on the public road. It basically needs to be built back up as a motorcycle and taken for a warrant of fitness. That's it. Obviously I need to get a new number plate for it, but that's easy because I'll just say I lost the old one, and they charge you like $7 or $9 and they give you a new plate. So that's all incidental stuff. But the important thing is, I wanted to know if what differences, mechanical differences, physical differences there are between the two frames, because I want to fit all the farm stuff onto the trail bike frame. I want to use the farm bike fuel tank, the farm bike seat, the farm bike mud guards. Front mud guard will be easy, but the rear mud guard back end is quite different. On the trail bike, it has like a little subframe that mounts the tail piece and the tail light and stuff. On the farm bike, it uses the rack as as the subframe, like an exoskeleton type frame, and then the mudguard bolts in underneath. But it looks similar. So yesterday I did a video essentially of stripping down that spare DR200 trail bike to nothing. There's bits all over the workshop, and now I've got the frame just behind the bike on the stand. It's on a little trolley, and I was just about to start another video to compare the differences, but nothing like giving you guys a bit of a heads up since you're already here. Let's go and take a look. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll go for a little wander, and I'll show you what I've found so far. And who knows, some of you guys might know more than I do, and you can tell me about other differences. Let's have a look. Oh, right, so we've got the farm bike version, and over here, this is the road bike, the trail bike version. Now, obviously, I'm not completely stripped Tool Girl Holley's bike, and I'm really annoyed myself because I actually stripped another farm bike about 4 or 5 months ago, just before lockdown, and I threw the frame away. I know, what an idiot. Would have been really helpful at this point in time to have seen the differences. But what I've found so far, and this is obviously going to be in the video, and there'll be lots more in the video as well. But do you remember, well, yes, you won't remember because the video is not going out yet, but on the farm bikes, they have dual side stand. They have one on the right-hand side, and normally, although it's missing on this bike, they also have one on the left side, and this is the mount for it. That's a standard mount that's integral to the frame because the trail bike has that as well. However, to be a farm bike, of course, it has to have both stands, and I want to keep both stands. In actual fact, I paid for all the bits and pieces to have a brand new stand on this bike together with a foot peg. And Tool Girl Holley fitted all this not too long ago to camera. Well, if we come over here and look at the road bike, the trail bike version, it only has one bolt mount and it has a peg. Whereas if we go back over here again, you'll see that the foot peg, which actually provides the foot peg perch, so to speak, provides the mount for the stand, that's held on with 2 bolts. So quite clearly the frame is slightly different around that area there. So that's one thing that I need to look at and maybe modify. We'll have to wait and see. Now at the moment, just to get this bike mobile, I just threw the swing arm back in and put the bolt through and stuff, and just threw the rack wheel back in because I needed the hoist yesterday. So, but all that won't make any sense to you because the videos of us taking that swing arm out and doing the bearings, or in this case bushes, hasn't been released yet. So you've no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, time as always. Oh, one other thing. The farm bike, which is really cool, has an oil cooler. Look at that. And I was thinking, oh, maybe the oil cooler's got its own mounts, but it turns out it doesn't. It uses that bolt there, and it uses one of the top engine mount bolts on the frame there, look. So the oil cooler will swap across to the other frame quite easily. Other differences, this bike has no pillion foot peg brackets, whereas of course this frame does, which is great because that's what I'm quite happy to keep those. Be quite handy to be able to have 2 people on the bike. But other than that, I don't think there's any other differences, but I'll be looking at it in more detail when I actually do the video. But if you know of any other differences, structural differences especially, then let me know, because I need to know. Now, the only problem is any modifications that I make to this frame are, strictly speaking, have to be declared. Yeah, that's basically you got to get the frame recertified. However, if I make a nice tidy job of it, chances are the warranty inspector will have no idea what I've done, and he won't ask for any kind of certification. So that's probably the route that I'll be going down. So there you go. This was a full motorcycle yesterday, and there's going to be a video going out at some point where I stripped the entire bike to nothing. Destructive kind of video. Anyway, back to the bench, because I really need a cigarette, I'll tell you that. Oh, hang on. Let's just put that in the bin. Don't like that one. Right, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So that's what I was up to yesterday. I was really busy yesterday, actually. Really, really busy. I should have started. Oh man, hang on. There we go. I should have started that video a lot earlier in the day, but I didn't, unfortunately. Oh, I put some red tape on the calendar. Sorry, chaps. I felt that I had to do that. YouTube would maybe get a bit. In fact, I might even just do that. Look, I just don't want to upset YouTube too much. There we go. Cool. Hey, talking about YouTube, 59,000 subscribers. We've had like over 2,000 subscribers come on board in the last 4 weeks. It's been a hell of a busy month, actually. And that trailer axle video, really, it's cooled off a bit now, but it was going mental. So many views. Now, let's have a... So if you've got any questions about the DR200, hopefully, you know, that's answered those. If you've got any others, then just let me know and I'll do what I can to help. But hopefully you understand my motives behind wanting to use the other chassis, the other frame, because I want to be able to ride it anywhere and everywhere. It'd be very cool to have a farm spec DR200, which is fully road legal. One thing that I'll have to work out is how to do the indicators, especially on the rear, because the rear mudguard on the farm bike doesn't look like, I'll have to go online and look at some original pictures, but it doesn't look like it's actually designed for indicators. So I might have to come up with some kind of an ingenious plan for that. But other than that, it shouldn't be hard. And I can use the loom off the road going bike, you see, which will have all the indicator wiring and stuff already built in. Very cool. So let's have a little scroll back because there's lots been going on. Kill switch BB. Hang on, have I jumped the gun here? Hang on. Oh no, we're okay. We're where we should be. Did you cook pies on the fire in the shed floor, lol? No, I didn't. I was welding. with my little stick welder. I was welding quite intensely and was far too focused on the welding part than the flames going on around me at the time. Man, that was a good pie. I do like those pies. Mike Bozansky. What is your go-to gear brands when out riding motorcycles? Well, I have some Alpine Star leather trousers, which are really nice. Probably don't fit anymore though. Take the next size up. I wear motocross boots. Now, as regards the brand, they are completely knackered. I think they're Alpine Stars as well, but they're motocross boots. I got those because I ride super motard most of the time. I just like to be well protected, and that combination goes well. And I have a leather jacket that's got Triumph on it, believe it or not. And I bought it because it had the Union Jack on it. I never owned a Triumph bike, but I just like the jacket. I do need to get a new jacket, I must admit, because the old jacket, well, it's a little bit tight, to be fair. It's a little bit tight. In actual fact, I need all new gear anyway, because the boots are knackered. Trousers are probably a bit too small, and jacket's definitely too small. And that's all because of the pies and the cider. I blame the pies and the cider. It's all their fault, but hey, a small price to pay to enjoy such good pies and cider on a regular basis. You've got to get your priorities right, haven't you? It's not all about being super slim and, you know, whatever. It's just be yourself. As long as you're happy, it's all that matters. So, Mike, hopefully that's answered your question. DZ Kung, is anyone sell pie? I want Andy to be on your sponsor because he loves pie. I do like pies, but let's not make it an issue, okay? It's all right. I don't need to be sponsored for pies. Happy to buy them. If you sponsor me, I will eat probably a lot more pies, and then I'll need you know, to keep replacing my motorcycle jacket on a regular basis, and it's not the way I want to go. All right, don't want to get any bigger. Big enough. Thanks. Rose Iron Works, nice one. You're not a welder until you set fire to the workshop a few times, and yourself, by the way, as well. I have caught fire myself quite a few times, and it's just that sudden, you know, you're welding away and you get that sort of sensation that you're getting a little bit hotter than what you anticipated you were going to get. And then, oh, just finish this line, just finish this weld, then I'll take a look. By which time you flick your mask up and whoa, my arm's on fire or my leg's on fire and the flames are licking up past your head. It's not good. Simon, my work sells the waste cardboard for they sell it for recycling. Holy crap. In New Zealand, if you've got a cardboard waste bin for a business, you have to pay to have it emptied. It used to be, I think, $75 a bin, and the bin was probably 3 square meters in volume. 3 cubic meters in volume. Idiot. George, sorry, it's a bike front. Oh, I was thinking it was a car. It's a bike front tire in a country driving on the left side of the road. The excessive wear is between the left edge and the middle line. Check tire pressure, no leaks, nothing, irregular front forks. Just do a string line wheel alignment. Simon could tell you all about this. Dead easy. Just get your bike positioned vertically and handle, you know, front wheel straight, and do a string line and see if the front wheel is offset to one side. It might be that a space is missing on either the front or the rear wheel. That would cause scrubbing when you're turning. There'll be lots of videos on YouTube. I haven't done one yet, actually, on stringline wheel alignments on bikes, but I'm sure that there will be a YouTube video out there, or certainly Google will know some information on how to do a stringline wheel alignment on a motorcycle. A very simple thing to do, and it quickly highlights problems. If you know the history of the bike, then you probably know that it has or hasn't been crashed. If you don't know the history of the bike, then maybe it has. I don't know. And sometimes, just sometimes, and I can't say any more than this, I have come across bikes where the front wheel is misaligned to the rear from factory, and it shouldn't be like that. They should be in line. It's the whole principle of a motorcycle. So George, let me know how you get on. You could always send me an email if you like with some more information, and I'll address that for you. DZ Kung, yay, Suzuki is good. I like Suzuki's, but if you spell it properly, it has a Z in it. Now then, Simon, yay, rode a Beamish once. I owned one, Simon. I've got one up on you. What the hell? How did that happen? I'll see if I can try and find some photos. In fact, if you go onto my Facebook, I'm sure you'll find in the archives a picture of me and my Suzuki Beamish somewhere. In actual fact, is it on my profile picture? I know I'm stood in front of a bike. It might not be the Suzuki Beamish though. Hang on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Trying to use complicated technology here. It is! It is! There you go, look. Right. There is, it's only a little tiny picture, there is my Suzuki Beamish. I know you can't see a lot of it because there's a very young Andy mechanic stood in front of it, but that's my Suzuki Beamish. And I used to ride it around Peter Ainsworth's farm up near Castle Howard most weekends. I had a lot of fun riding that bike around there. Brendan Lee Grant Mills. Not set fire to the workshop, but set fire to myself on fire, which is always fun. It is fun as long as you don't actually get really burnt. And often it just tells you you're wearing the wrong kind of gear. Usually quite flammable gear when you're welding. Simon Roll, the Beamish is a bit like the 70s, the Honda TL250. TL250, Honda. Let's have a little look. Images. Honda TL250. Yes, very similar tank. Same little tiny seat with the little hoop at the back of the frame, and the roundy mud guards. It had round mud guards front and rear, although they were plastic. Yeah, cool bikes. But it was that looks a little bit lower in the seat height. The Suzuki Beamish, whether somebody had changed the shocks on it or what, I don't know. It had Marzocchi shocks on it. It was really high. I could really only just touch the ground on it, to be fair. See if he's got a picture of the Suzuki Beamish. Oh, yes. Haha. Look at these. There you go, look. That's what I used to have. And it had mine had a chrome frame on it. A bit like that one there. But without yes, that was the one. But without mine had no lights on it at all. But other than that, pretty much the bike. Pretty cool. In fact, as much as I should say it now, I wish I still had it because it's quite a classic. But it got sold. When I got my road license, it got sold. Oh, hang on. Camera alignment, camera alignment, camera alignment that way. There you go, look. That's better. I do miss that bike though. It was very troublesome. I had a lot of engine problems. Probably most of it my own doing at the time. I was only about 13 when I had it. 13 or 14. Now then. Mike Adams, where do you get your round... Hang on a minute. Let me scroll down a bit. Where do you get your round to its? Oh yes, I have so many projects to do, but I can't seem to get round to it to get them all done. Lol. Well, I'm the same, to be perfectly honest. I've got Jared's go-kart for his kids sat on the bench, hasn't moved from the day I brought it home. It's gonna happen, Jared. I'm really sorry. I know Jared watches these live streams sometimes. I am going to get around to it. I'm looking forward to doing it. I need to buy some tubular steel and I need to buy a pipe bender and some box section to make the jig, and then I can get on with it. I'm going to really enjoy fixing that up, but it's taken a while. I need to get this one out of the way. I've got to get a bit more work done on Alan's CB750, and I might have another round of these brackets to do, and I've got 3 more of the Surf Club RRVs to one to refurbish, and all of them to service. So there's quite a lot of work involved with that, and I'm going to be away all of next week. So none of it's going to happen next week, is it? So yeah, I'm the same. I've got loads of projects that I'd love to get on with. Lots of stuff that I want to make videos on that I've just not had time to do. I need to focus on the projects in hand at the moment, get those out of the way before I start any more. Normally I just have one project going at a time. But as it is, I've got 2, and it really does slow things down, and you tend to, I won't say lose motivation, but you don't think you're getting anywhere. That's half the problem. Now then, Drew Dastardly, Beamish, isn't that a fake Guinness stout? I used to drink it in Woolly Backland Skem. It's made me scandalous too. No doubt. But you're right. Simon, speaking of old trail bikes, my old DT finally has a UK registration number. Good man. That's what I like to hear. Getting it back on the road. Looking forward to seeing that finished. Mike Bozansky, I discovered your channel looking for videos for my TT250R Open Enduro. You had some. And we have actually, we've got 2 TT250R raids. One is fully assembled bike, which just needs a cam chain, which has been waiting for me to fit a cam chain for a very long time. Sorry, Ben. We've even got all the parts, just not got around to it. Another little project in the back burner, talking of projects. And then Ben can get it back on the road and use it as his commuting bike, because at the moment he's using his WR 450F in super motard spec, which is far too dangerous for him on the road. He's a mad rider, is Ben. He's going to get himself... He's ridden it on the road for years, so he sort of knows what he's doing, but it's not the kind of bike you want to be putting thousands of Ks on. And his has done about 25,000 Ks now, and he's had it since 2014, 15. I think we bought it early 15, I think it was. So thanks for that, Mike. Appreciate it. And maybe one day there might be some more videos working on those bikes, but at the moment, maybe you know the reason why I can't do anything on that brand. Simon, the farm spec thing may be more about the tax paid on import. It may be lower being a farm bike. Possibly. I'll have to look into that. Not that it really matters if we're going to be using the road bike frame, because obviously the full tax was paid on that bike. It's just a cosmetic farm bike stuff that's going on it now, isn't it, really? So it won't be an issue at this end, but you could be right. That might be the reason. Geez, so many comments. Hello from Sweden, from Lars Kajval. Hello from Sweden. We like your channel. Thank you very much, Sweden. I appreciate that. It's good to have Sweden on board. Z-Rangers. Hello. Hello, Z-Rangers. DZ Kung, I'll be back. That's a very famous phrase. Simon, a long straight edge is part of the MOT bike test tools. Well, that probably never gets used. I've never seen anybody use a straight edge to check wheel alignment on a motorcycle inspection in the UK. Maybe they should. DZ Kung, oh, he's back already. What's your email? I just want to send you the video of the finished web shooting. Oh, yes, please. The email address is andymechanic@live.co.uk. You'll find that email address in the description of pretty much all the recent videos that have gone out. John Dwyer. Hi, Andy. Sorry for being late. I wouldn't say that you're late. Just got back from my daughter. Been there for dinner. How's your eye, mate? Well, it's actually all right. It's a little bit sore still, but they got the steel out of it. The steel was in the iris, believe it or not. The shard, and the guy dug it out with a needle. I won't go through the whole story again, but yeah, fixed to all intents and purposes. Give it another few days and be back to 100% again, I'm sure. Doesn't bother me anymore like it was last Sunday, that's for sure. George, thank you, Andy. We'll do that and update. Cheers, George. DZ Kung, I mean, when finished, yeah, I wasn't expecting to be ready straight away. I will get shower. I'll be back soon. Oh, that's nice to know that you're going for a shower, mate. Good job. Personal hygiene is very important these days. And the last comment, caught up. Juan, or is it Johan? No, Juan. Otis. Hello from New York. New York. Isn't that what they say? New York? I don't know. I can't pronounce it properly. I'm Yorkshire. Excellent stuff. And that's it. I've caught up with the comments, so it's time for another slurp of coffee. So, there you go. Not really finalised my plans for today. I might do a little bit more on the frame of Tool Girl Holley's, or the new frame, the replacement frame for this farm bike for Holley. Or I might decide to do some work on the CB750. Either one will involve a video. It's a bit of a weird weekend, and I know I've got an RRV to do lots and lots of work to outside, and normally I'd be cracking on with that and not making any videos, but it requires two major parts which I need to get authorization for to order. The email to the customer's gone through, but nothing yet has come back, so it's sort of left me with a little bit of a gap for this long weekend, because Monday is a bank holiday here in New Zealand. It's called Labor Day, and yeah, it's just nice just to take things a little bit slower. I have got a huge video to edit up from yesterday, so I might even make it a short day today in the workshop and go and edit that this afternoon. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out. But I'm not in a mad rush to get back on the tools. I had a long day on the tools yesterday, very productive, got done exactly what I wanted to get done, but it did take a little bit longer than planned. On those DR200s, the swing arm pivot bolt is also shared. Basically, it runs through the back of the engine as well. And every single one that I've stripped down so far, that pivot bolt is completely seized solid, to the point yesterday, and yeah, a bit of a spoiler alert, I had to get the welder out. I had to MIG weld a nut on the end because the head of the bolt had rounded. I don't think it was my fault, it was just too seized, couldn't get it to turn. Fortunately, the heating of the bolt did help to free it off as well. Plus, it gave me a much larger nut to get a much better purchase on. With the in fact, I ended up using a 3/4 inch power bar with a tube on it as well. It was that tight. Crazy. And the nut was already off. It was just tight in the bushes. It basically corroded to buggery. But after many impacts with the magic hammer and using all the magic that the magic hammer could muster, we did finally manage to get that the pivot bolt out. And that pretty much knackered me for the rest of the day, to be honest. John, good. Glad you got it fixed. Yeah, me too, mate. Honestly, it was really starting to hurt by Sunday night. Joanne, hope you feel better from your eye accident. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I do. I feel a lot better, thanks. Simon, bank holiday equals cold cider. I wish it could, Simon. I really do. I have to drive up to Auckland on Monday afternoon, on the bank holiday afternoon, which is probably going to be a nightmare of a trip because there'll be a lot of people heading back to Auckland that day. So I want to try and get away from here probably by about 1 o'clock. Sort of beat the traffic, the mad rush back. If I go any later than that, I'll probably end up being, stuck in all the traffic queuing back to Auckland. And on Tuesday morning, I've got to go to the New Zealand SAS base. I say that really quietly because it's a secret location. Can't tell you where it is, otherwise they'd probably shoot me after they've mutilated me really badly and interrogated me, no doubt. But yeah, I'm going to go there, which should be pretty cool. Go and say hello to the lads, see how they're getting on. Joanne, I love your channel and the Tool Girls. We all love the Tool Girls, don't we? They are cool. They're very cool. It's great to have them around. And Tool Girl Holley is the current Tool Girl for the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. There have been times in the past where we've had 2 or 3 or even 4 Tool Girls, as regular assistants on the channel. But at the moment, it is just Tool Girl Holley. But she does a fantastic job, and she is from the industry. She's worked on old American muscle cars for a few years, and now she's working in the parts department for a very large Ford dealership, and she's doing a great job. She really is. Very, very happy. So I think basically we're an hour and 32, which is, that's fine to call it a day, really, isn't it? I've got plenty to do, and it's been nice talking to you guys. Have you got any last questions before I sign off? Anything else going to pop through? Maybe I'll have one more cigarette while we have a final chat. And then I need to go and do some work. Don't know what that work's going to be yet. I've got a few options available. Have any of you guys ever owned a DR200? That would be interesting to find out. Did you have any problems with it? What are the Simon? You might know this. What are the common fails on these bikes? I mean, believe it or not, they seem to be very, very hardy, given the fact they're used as a farm bike here in New Zealand. When you see the wear on the foot peg pivots and stuff, just how much use and abuse these machines get, and they seem to cope very, very well. Very impressed. And still made in Japan, which is a really important factor when you're looking at quality of a bike and part supply as well. Any bikes made in Japan, you're always going to be able to get the bits for a long time. And it's been a long-standing design, hasn't it? It's been around for a long time as the DR200, so, it's pretty bulletproof, to be honest. Well, the comments have gone really quiet now. Have you all run out of things to talk about? Maybe you have. I don't know. Geez, I'll just sit here all on my own. I'm not on my own. Who else have we got? We've got 32 people still sat and 31 likes. So I need another couple of likes if you don't mind, people. If you haven't liked yet, you can like. Oh dear. Just starting to wake up. It's pretty cool. Simon, just the DR350, the full DR range seems to be very strong bikes. Yeah, my brother hired a DR650 a few years ago when he came to New Zealand for the first time, and we went up north and good bike. It did have a problem with it on the open road. Just before we turned off onto the gravel roads, it seemed to lose power, and it turned out to be fuel starvation. And on the inlet for the fuel from the fuel tap down to the carb, there's a little insert filter in that inlet, and that was packed full of crap. So I flicked it out, cleaned it all out, blew it out, put it back in, and the bike was mint, absolutely mint. He said it never gone better. And we were riding for a good 3 or 4 days, I think it was, without any real problems at all. So just basic maintenance. Whoever been doing the servicing on the bike had never actually taken it out and cleaned it, I think. George, Suzuki is celebrating their 100 years now, I guess. Wow, 100 years of Suzukis. Seriously? That's pretty damn good going. The Up Monkey. What supermoto do you ride? Well, I have two. One's really a parts bike now, which is my original. They're both the KTM 640 LC4, super motard spec from the factory. Not massively powerful. Service intervals by the book is every 5,000 Ks, but I do it every 2. And even that's going to last me for years, to be honest, at the rate that I'm riding the bike at the moment. But no, a really good machine. No real problems. Even though it was a KTM, no real problems. It has got a bit of an oil leak at the moment on the base gasket, but to fix that is going to be engine out and a top end strip, obviously. So I'm just holding out until I get to 40,000 Ks, and then I'll do, rebore new piston rings, that kind of stuff, and refresh it all properly. So I'm just holding out, and it only weeps a little bit of oil. It's not the end of the world, and I just pretend it's a British bike. I know it's not a British bike, but British bikes all leak oil, and you can ride them around, and it's not a problem. So when it goes for a warrant of fitness, I just give it a little wipe, and it's fine. Nobody bothers. But between the two bikes, I've probably covered about 75,000 Ks on the two bikes, but I've not ridden them at all on one of them. Not ridden either of them for well over a year now. Just keep pushing them out of the workshop and pushing them back in again. It's quite sad, to be honest. Mike Bozansky saw an old video of Holly as a blonde. That was better than brunette. Don't tell her that. She's sort of a redhead now, which is, it's not a natural. Well, she is a redhead, but the color of her hair isn't natural red. She does dye her hair, and I think she looks great, to be honest. Blonde, I like blondes as well, but I think she looks good, really good. Simon, Mondo Enduro is the proof. I'll have to check that one out, Simon. Mike Bozansky drank the orange Kool-Aid, lol. I did. I was very wary about buying a KTM at the start. It was the prestige version, so it was all black. There was no orange on the bike at all, which I think just tipped the scales for me. And had a lot of fun on that bike. I've ridden all over Europe a couple of times on that bike, and many times around New Zealand. Been right to the bottom of the South Island on it. Great fun. The only big problem for me for long distance riding on it is the seat. It's a little bit uncomfortable after long rides, and it runs out of fuel. I can drain, if I'm riding the bike real hard, I can drain the tank in about 100 Ks. If I ride it really gingerly, as Eric would say, then I can get well over 200 Ks, usually about 230 Ks out of a tank full. So it's all about how you ride the bike as to how far you're going to get. But it is fun. It does pull good wheelies, and it handles really, really well. It's got fantastic brakes on it. The Up Monkey, good choice of bike. Got an LC4 640 Supermoto myself. Only problems with it is I waited far too long to buy one. So much fun on the Sunday Bacon Sarnie run. They are lots of fun. You can have a lot of fun at not massively high speeds as well. That's why I like the bike. And it's good for the tight, twisty roads. It's not so good for the open highways, to be fair. You sat on a motorway and it's sort of, I mean, sure, it'll easily break the speed limit, but it is a big single at the end of the day, and you do get vibrations and stuff from it. Simon, what you have never seen Mondo Enduro 4 lads ride DR350s around the world on a shoestring budget. Is that on YouTube, Simon? If it is, I'm definitely going to watch that. No, I haven't. There's so much stuff that I haven't seen, and mainly because I haven't got time to watch stuff, but I will definitely check that out for sure. It sounds really good. I remember riding, I was down on the South Island just before I started my new job that I've been in now for 3.5 years. I was down on the South Island doing a 5-day trail ride on my WR, and there are some videos on that. The series still hasn't been finished because I can't post the last couple of videos of that series because it's got that product of bike in it, which is a real shame because there's a nice big river crossing in the end. But we came across some lads, I think it was like on day 2, and they were on like little postie bikes, and they were doing rainbows, which is it's not really rugged, but it's a long, semi-rugged trail up in the north of the South Island, and it heads out towards from Hammer Springs out towards Nelson sort of direction. And we were near the end when we caught up with them, and we did the river crossings together. It's all on the video. We filmed them going through the river crossings and things, which were quite deep. And we got to the end onto the tarmac, and I said to the lads, "Where are you going next?" And he says, "You know what? We're going to turn around and go back." What a bloke, honestly. And I think they'd taken 2 days to do the trail. They camped out on the trail somewhere. Really, really good fun, actually. Simon Roll, it goes on YouTube, but it gets pulled down very fast. You have to buy the DVD. Right, I will check out the DVD and see if I can get hold of that. I will. Maybe it could be a good Christmas present Ben could get me, I think. I'll ask him to do that. I'll take a picture of that before I lose the comments. Oh, turn your camera around, Mr. Young. There we go. Cheers, Simon. Appreciate that. So I think we're about there, gentlemen. I really do. We're an hour and 42 minutes in. That's really quite long enough for a live stream today. I'll be back again next Sunday for sure, so we can do the whole thing again. 8:30 a.m. Sunday morning, New Zealand time. I'll be back, and no doubt we'll have a bit more progress on the DR, maybe some more progress on the CB750 as well. And don't forget, if you haven't yet got your official Andy Mechanic mug, and this is the one with Tool Girl Holley on there, looking as gorgeous as ever. There's lots of different kinds of mugs. I haven't got the standard mug kicking around at the moment, fortunately. If you go onto the Zazzle store, there's a link in the descriptions of all the videos that have gone out recently. It's zazzle.com/store/Andy Mechanic YouTube, I think it is from memory. There's lots of different merchandise from Andy Mechanic on there. If whatever you decide to go for, if anything, then when it arrives, send me through a selfie on an email with your product, and well, I'll put you in that draw to win some Teng tools, some Forge gear, and some more Andy Mechanic merch. And that draw is being held in December. So some lucky winner is going to get all that stuff and a bespoke Andy Mechanic embroidered jacket as well. Pretty cool. Unique stuff. Okay, crew. Well, cigarette's almost gone. What have we got here? Marius, hope you have a great weekend and see you next week. Yes, I've been lurking in the shadows. Good man. Jim K, thanks for the great live stream. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. John Dyer, bye-bye, Andy. Okay, crew, I will see you next Sunday. And remember, wear a full face mask when grinding. Yeah, we should all do that, shouldn't we? See you around, crew. Cheers. Thanks for joining. Over and out.